Why are men walking away from women in record numbers? It's not what you think. It's not fear of commitment. It's not pornography or video games or any of the easy explanations society offers. The real reason is simpler and more profound than anyone wants to admit. Men have discovered something more valuable than female attention. And once you understand what that is, everything about modern relationships makes sense. By the end of this video, you'll understand why peace has become the most valuable commodity in a man's life, why modern women destroy peace systematically, and why men who choose solitude over chaos aren't weak, they're finally awake. But I need to warn you, this perspective will separate you from most people. Because what I'm about to explain contradicts everything you've been taught about what men are supposed to want. Before we explore why men are protecting their peace with the same intensity women once protected their virginity, you need to understand something fundamental about male development. And to understand that, we first need to look at what changes when a man moves beyond his 20s. When you're young, you'll trade anything for female attention. Peace, dignity, self-respect. None of it matters compared to the possibility of sex or validation. You'll tolerate drama, chaos, disrespect, emotional manipulation, whatever it takes. Because your biology is screaming at you that access to women is the highest priority. But something shifts as you mature. Usually around 30, sometimes earlier if you've been through enough pain, you start building something. A career, a reputation, financial stability, a life you're actually proud of. And you realize that all of it requires one fundamental resource: peace. Peace isn't just feeling calm. It's the mental clarity required to make good decisions, the emotional stability needed to handle pressure, the internal foundation that allows you to build anything lasting. Without peace, you can't think strategically. You can't focus deeply. You can't create value. You're just reacting to circumstances, constantly destabilized by external chaos. And once a man tastes real peace, once he experiences what it's like to wake up without anxiety, to work without distraction, to end his day without emotional exhaustion, he won't give it up for anyone. Not for sex, not for companionship, not even for love. This is the shift that's happening across millions of men simultaneously. They're realizing that peace is the empire. Everything else, relationships, status, even wealth, means nothing if you don't have the internal stability to enjoy it. And here's what makes this shift revolutionary. Women are now the primary threat to that peace. Not because women are evil or intentionally destructive, but because modern women have been shaped by forces that make them incompatible with male peace. Social media addiction that creates constant need for validation. Inflated egos from endless attention they were never supposed to have. Mental health issues that go untreated while men are expected to manage the fallout. The average modern woman doesn't multiply a man's peace. She consumes it. She brings conflict instead of calm, drama instead of stability, chaos instead of sanctuary. And men are finally doing the math and realizing the cost is too high, so they're walking away. Not angrily, not with resentment, just with the quiet certainty that protecting their peace matters more than proving they can attract or maintain a relationship. But to understand why this is happening now, you need to see exactly what's changed about women, and that's what we need to examine next. Here's what nobody wants to say out loud. Modern women are fundamentally different from women of previous generations, and that difference makes them incompatible with the peace men require. Start with attention. A woman today receives more validation in a single day than her grandmother received in an entire lifetime. Every photo uploaded generates dozens or hundreds of reactions. Every post brings comments. DMs from men around the world arrive constantly. And this flood of attention creates something toxic, an addiction to external validation that can never be satisfied. She's not connecting with you. She's monitoring her metrics, checking who viewed her story, comparing her engagement to other women's, living in a perpetual state of performance and evaluation. And you, the man actually present in her life, you become just one source of attention among hundreds competing for her focus. This makes genuine intimacy impossible, because intimacy requires presence, and she's never fully present. Part of her is always online, always aware of the attention economy she's participating in, always calculating how to maintain or increase her value in that marketplace. But before we continue with the other ways modern women destroy peace, you need to understand why this attention addiction matters so much. And to understand that, we need to look at what it does to her psychology. Endless validation destroys a woman's ability to bond. Pair bonding requires investment in one person. But when she's receiving validation from hundreds, why would she invest deeply in you? You're not special. You're one option among many. And the moment you stop providing exactly what she wants, she has a queue of alternatives ready to replace you. Then there's the body count issue. And this isn't about morality or judgment. It's about psychology. Every sexual partner a woman has takes a piece of her ability to form deep attachment. Not because sex is evil, but because bonding mechanisms degrade with repeated casual use. By the time she's been with 10, 20, 30 men, she can't connect the way she could have earlier. You'll feel it. The emotional distance, the comparison, the sense that you're being measured against ghosts you can't see and can't compete with. Add to this the combative temperament modern women have been taught. They've been told that cooperation is weakness, that submission is slavery, that challenging men constantly is empowerment. So they test, argue, undermine, push back on everything. Not because they actually disagree, but because they've been conditioned to believe that conflict equals strength. A man comes home after navigating conflict all day at work. He's dealt with difficult clients, demanding bosses, competitive colleagues. What he needs is sanctuary, a space where he doesn't have to be in combat mode, where he can finally relax and breathe. But modern women bring the battlefield into the home. They create conflict where none needs to exist. They manufacture drama to feel alive. And the man finds himself constantly on guard, constantly managing her emotions, constantly walking on eggshells just to maintain basic peace. This isn't partnership, it's exhaustion. And after months or years of it, men realize something crucial. Being alone is actually more peaceful than being with her. Solitude doesn't argue, silence doesn't test, and an empty house doesn't create problems just to feel powerful solving them. So they choose solitude, not because they hate women, but because they love peace more. Stefan Molyneux said something that explains this perfectly. Women are either sacred or destructive. They can multiply a man's empire or collapse it overnight. And modern culture has elevated the destructive archetype while burying the sacred one. The sacred woman understands her power. She knows she can either amplify what a man builds or destroy it completely. So she moves carefully. She respects his focus. She protects his peace. She adds value instead of extracting it. These women still exist, but they're becoming rarer because culture actively discourages these qualities. Instead, we've elevated the destructive woman, the one who views men as resources to be drained, who brings chaos and calls it passion, who undermines her man and calls it independence, who destroys what he built and calls it liberation. Social media has made this archetype not just acceptable, but celebrated. Men see this clearly now. They watch women destroy relationships, families, men's lives, and then get applauded for their strength. They see the divorce courts strip men of assets earned through decades of work. They see false accusations ruin reputations built over lifetimes. They see toxic women hollow out good men and leave them shells of who they were. And they're making a calculation. Is the possibility of finding a sacred woman worth the risk of encountering a destructive one? And increasingly, the answer is no. But before we continue with why men are treating peace like women once treated virginity, you need to understand what's actually at stake when a man gives up his peace. And this is what most people never consider. A man's empire is fragile. It takes decades to build. Years of discipline, sacrifice, focus, strategic decisions. He builds his career slowly, brick by brick. He develops his reputation through consistent character. He creates financial stability through delayed gratification and careful planning. And the wrong woman can destroy all of it in days. One bad relationship decision can unravel decades of careful building. The divorce strips him of half his assets minimum, often more. The stress destroys his focus at work, costing him opportunities or even his job. The emotional chaos erodes his discipline, leading to decisions he would never make in a stable state. But the financial and career damage isn't even the worst of it. The worst is what happens to his character. A toxic woman doesn't just take his money. She erodes his identity. She makes him question himself constantly. She undermines his confidence. She poisons his ability to trust his own judgment. And once a man's character is corrupted, once his internal compass is destabilized, what does he have left? He can rebuild money. He can recover career damage. But rebuilding your sense of self after someone has systematically dismantled it, that takes years, sometimes decades, and some men never fully recover. This is why men are protecting their peace with such intensity, because they finally realize that peace isn't just a nice to have, it's the foundation of everything. Without it, nothing else can stand. Here's the comparison that makes everything clear. Men are now treating peace the way women once treated their virginity. Think about what virginity meant to women historically. It wasn't just about sex. It was about sacredness, something that once given away could never be taken back. Women understood that virginity was valuable precisely because it was limited. You could only give it once. So the decision of who to give it to mattered enormously. Women guarded their virginity carefully. They didn't give it away casually. They evaluated potential partners thoroughly. They made sure the man was worthy before granting access, because they understood that once it was gone, its value couldn't be restored. Men are now applying this exact framework to peace. They've realized that peace, like virginity, is sacred. Once you give it up, once you let chaos into your life, it's gone. And getting it back costs more than most men can pay. So they guard it. They protect it fiercely. They don't grant access casually. They evaluate potential partners with the same scrutiny women once applied to evaluating men before marriage. Is she worth the risk to my peace? Will she multiply it or destroy it? Can I trust her with something this valuable? And increasingly, the answer is no. Not because they hate women, but because modern women haven't proven themselves worthy of that access. They haven't demonstrated the capacity to protect and enhance male peace. Instead, they've shown a consistent pattern of consuming and destroying it. This parallel extends further. Just as women who gave away their virginity too easily were devalued in traditional societies, men who give away their peace too easily are destroyed in modern society. The man who tolerates chaos, who accepts disrespect, who allows his peace to be constantly disrupted, he loses value. In his own eyes and in women's eyes. Women don't respect men who give up their peace easily, just as men didn't respect women who gave up their virginity easily. Because both demonstrate a lack of self-value, a willingness to trade something precious for something temporary. But here's where it gets interesting. Society shamed women for protecting their virginity, called them prudes, uptight, frigid. The sexual revolution convinced women that giving away their virginity freely was liberation. And what happened? The value of female sexuality collapsed. What was once precious became common. What was once sacred became commodified. The same forces are now trying to shame men for protecting their peace, calling them afraid of commitment, labeling them as weak or selfish, insisting that real men are supposed to tolerate chaos, manage women's emotions, sacrifice their stability for relationships. But men aren't falling for it, because they've seen what happened when women stopped protecting what was sacred. They watched female sexual value collapse. They saw relationships become transactional and empty. And they're not making the same mistake. They're protecting their peace, guarding it carefully, refusing to trade it for temporary validation or companionship. And this protection isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's men finally understanding what's actually valuable and refusing to give it away to people who don't deserve it. So here's where we are. Men have discovered that peace is the empire. Everything else, relationships, status, even wealth, is worthless without the internal stability to enjoy it. Modern women, shaped by social media, endless attention, and cultural programming that celebrates destructive behavior, have become the primary threat to that peace. Not intentionally, but inevitably. They bring chaos instead of calm, conflict instead of sanctuary, drama instead of stability. And men are making a choice that previous generations never had the clarity or courage to make. They're choosing peace over participation, solitude over chaos, self-preservation over social expectation. This isn't a temporary trend. It's a fundamental shift in how men relate to relationships. Previous generations of men accepted that chaos came with women. That emotional drama was just part of the deal. That you tolerated it because you needed female companionship, sex, family. But modern men are different. They've calculated the actual cost. They've measured what they lose versus what they gain. And increasingly, the math doesn't work. The peace they sacrifice is worth more than what they receive in return. So they're walking away, not angrily, not with resentment, just with the quiet certainty that their peace matters more than proving they can attract or maintain a relationship. This terrifies society, because society needs men to participate in relationships. It needs them to marry, reproduce, support families. When men walk away en masse, the entire social structure becomes unstable. So the shaming intensifies. Men who choose solitude are called weak, afraid, selfish, immature. They're told they're missing out on life's greatest meaning, that they're incomplete without relationships, that they're failing at being men. But men who've tasted real peace don't care about these accusations. They know the truth. That walking away isn't giving up. It's refusing to play a rigged game. It's choosing life over destruction. It's protecting the one thing that actually matters. When you see men refusing to date, refusing to pursue, refusing to chase, don't mistake it for laziness or fear. It's not that they can't, it's that they won't. Because they finally understand the cost, and they know the deal on the table isn't worth it anymore. This is the new reality. Men protect their peace like women once protected their virginity, with the same intensity, the same scrutiny, the same refusal to give it away to anyone who hasn't proven themselves worthy. And just as society eventually had to accept that women's sexual liberation was irreversible, society will have to accept this shift. Men aren't going back. They've seen behind the curtain. They understand what they were trading away, and they've decided it's not worth it. The future belongs to men who choose peace, who build their empires in solitude, who refuse to compromise their foundation for temporary companionship, who understand that the sacred must be protected, not given away freely. If you're one of these men, write in the comments, "I protect my peace." Because in a world that wants to consume you, protecting your peace isn't selfishness. It's survival. It's wisdom. It's the only rational choice left.